Hey X fans, Riley here. So this is my episode 1 of my X-Men Readathon. If you don't know what's going on with the X-Men Readathon, go watch episode 0. I'll have it in the same playlist as this. Essentially, I'm going to be reading one issue of the X-Men comics every day, and then every weekend I will have a video where I talk about everything that I've read for the previous week. So today I come at you, it's the 10th of January, so I've read 10 issues. Coincidentally, tomorrow is my wife and I's first anniversary, so tonight we're going out to a nice dinner. I'm wearing a t-shirt, the X-Men shirt that she got me for my birthday earlier this year, so we're super excited about that. Yes, X-Men Readathon episode 1. So, as I've said, I've read the first 10 issues of X-Men this past week. All of that by Stan the Man Lee and Jack the King Kirby. So there's a lot of thoughts that I have on this. I'm going to try and sum it up into about 10 minutes worth of video. First of all, those issues introduce of course, the original 5 X-Men. We get Cyclops, we get Jean Grey, we get Iceman, Angel, and Beast. They're not the same as we know them now, of course. They haven't developed into what they eventually become. Beast isn't hairy yet. He's still a normal human. Iceman doesn't know how to turn himself into solid ice. He just has a snowy outer layer. And then the other characters, they haven't developed their powers as much. They're not as strong. And as well as their powers, their character hasn't developed as much. We don't... at the very beginning of the series, you don't know so much that, Hank McCoy is supposed to be the genius of the group, that Warren Worthington comes from a rich family. You get kind of hints at this issue by issue. It's very clear that Stan Lee is trying to develop these characters and give them each their own individual personalities. But as the series begins, back in issue number 1 in the first few issues, it's just, these are the X-Men. They're really strange heroes, and this is what they can do. Eventually you get, in issue like 3 or something, they mention to Scott, like, why are you always so, you never have a smile on your face. You should smile. And he's like, oh, I've got too much to worry about. If my visor were to lift, then I might cause the people closest to me to become hurt. Stuff like that. So, that carries on. He's always that, he's never really the happy character, and that kind of carries on. So Stan Lee definitely set that up. Jean Grey joins the team in the first issue, so she's the last of the original 5 to join, and her character is essentially just she's the girl, and that's about it. So it's kind of, she doesn't have much development to her. All the guys are going after her. Eventually, she talks about how she also has feelings, internal monologue, not that she says anything, about how she has feelings for Scott. And I think basically every single one of the guys has mentioned like how they would like to take Jean out, because they all think that she's, a bombshell. We get Hank McCoy. They just, show him with his powers, the abilities that he has. And then eventually, like a few issues down the line, you see that he's reading books at the table, like, high mathematics and science books. He's speaking with a larger vocabulary. They mention that he doesn't speak with the same vocabulary that the other characters do. Stuff like that, and you eventually get the idea that he's supposed to be the smarter character on the team. Iceman, right off the bat, you get that he's the least mature. There's a scene in the first issue where Professor X says something to him, and he's like, well, if you're not going to treat me like an adult, then I'm not going to act like an adult. And he starts acting like a kid and like gets like carrots and buttons and puts them on his face, and he's like, I'm a snowman. So he's pretty immature. He plays games like that. And then Angel is the least characterized. He's pretty plain. He's just there kind of right now. And in issue 10 is where I think the first time they mention that he comes from a rich family. So he doesn't have as much character as the rest of them. Of course, we also in the first issue get introduced to Professor X. We know that he's supposed to be smart. He's supposed to be wealthy. And we know that he has very strong mental powers. And of course that he is the leader of the X-Men, that he's their teacher. Every issue seems to start out with a scene of them in the danger room, each one with a different character training, them showing basically this extent of their abilities. And each issue also kind of plays out as kind of a monster of the week type of thing, except that it wasn't weekly, it was a bi-monthly series, so it was the monster of every other month. The first villain being Magneto, so they set him up right off the bat. Second issue, we get the Vanisher. Third issue is the Blob. Fourth issue introduces us to the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, which is led by Magneto, of course. Then we have the mainstay of Toad. Then we get Mastermind, and then Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. But there's no mention in this in the book thus far about them having a relationship with Magneto, outside of the fact that Magneto saved them when they were younger in their home village. But we do know that they are brother and sister. We also get that idea that they are not so much evil mutants as they are just indebted to Magneto and doing what they think that they have to do, which kind of leads forward, several months down the line when they leave the Brotherhood and wind up joining the Avengers. Issue 5, I think, sees Magneto and the Brotherhood return. We get an issue, I think 6 has them track down Namor. Professor X says that he wants him to be part of the X-Men. Magneto wants him to be part of the Brotherhood. They both know that he's a very powerful mutant. They want him on their team and not have to fight against him. So then there's a big clash between them, and he winds up going off and doing his own thing. But what makes that issue notable is that it's the first one where there's really mention of outside franchises, because Namor mentions that he has gone head-to-head with the X-Men and that he has teamed up with the Hulk. So it's the first time you get the idea that these characters exist in the same universe as the rest of the Marvel characters. We get more Brotherhood issues. There's a return of the Blob, where the Blob, or Magneto tries to get him to join up with the Brotherhood. He doesn't join up at that moment. And then there's an issue where the X-Men meet the Avengers. And then issue number 10, which is the issue that I left off on, and I believe is also the end of the first Masterworks volume, has the X-Men go to the Savage Land for the first time and meet Quasar. So, all in all, a lot of really fun material. I remember when I started doing this, a lot of people said that I was going to have a rough time making it through these first issues, especially all this stuff before, basically everything before Claremont's run. And thus far, I've been having a lot of fun. Of course, the quality is not as great. The storytelling is not as solid as it is down the line. It's still kind of bumpy and experimental, but each issue that goes forth, it gets a little better and a little better, and I'm enjoying it even more as I go forward, and it's getting to the point where I kind of want to keep reading and not just stop at one issue per day. So hopefully, maybe I'll get that rolling along. We'll get this going through faster than what I have planned. That way we can get to the Neil Adams artwork and the Claremont issues faster. But yeah, Stan Lee's writing, it's a lot of exposition in each issue. There's a lot of explaining what every character is. There's a ton of internal monologue. You get, tons of dialogue and monologue on every single panel. So there's not any like splash pages unless you count the pinups of the individual characters that are in some of the issues. So there's not a lot of room for the artist Jack Kirby to really spread his wings like we're used to seeing in stuff like Fantastic Four or his New Gods Fourth World stuff at DC. Honestly, it's some of the least impressive work that I've seen from Kirby in the X-Men issues, because so far in these first 10 issues, there's not a lot of room for him to spread. There's not a lot of room for him to make big panels. It's kind of, 6 panels per page on every page, standard layout all the way through, without a lot of, big, glamorous shots that show off his abilities and show off his art style. So thus far, I haven't been really impressed by what I've seen as far as the artwork. It is nice, it's just not that same level. And I flipped through some stuff, the later stuff, especially that Neil Adams stuff, and it is beautiful, and you can definitely tell there's a big evolution within these next several years as the series goes forward. So anyway, that wraps up my thoughts for the first week. Just some quick thoughts there. As I get into more of the story-oriented, long-running stories and stuff, I'll have more to talk about what's going on in the series now. But this first video, just kind of getting into the whack of things, just talking about those first 10 issues. I'm pretty excited to, get this ball, rolling and doing this thing every week. So I hope you guys are excited about it too. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments section down below anything that you'd like me to talk about in future videos, if you'd like me to highlight certain things more so, or just generally what you thought about this. and what you're excited for me to read. Just comment all the comments that you need. So make sure to leave those comments down below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel, check out all my playlists. I'm going to have a playlist specifically for my readathon, so it'll be easy to watch these in succession. But please keep up with these because they're this is a really fun thing for me to do. I'm really excited about this feature. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, share my videos with people that might be interested. Check out my blog at www.theomnibuscollector.tumblr.com. And generally, stay cool, and I will see you guys with another X-Men Readathon video sometime next weekend with another 7 or so issues to talk about.